Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. My name's Nicky V. First of all, I want to thank all the new subscribers from the last couple of videos. Really means a lot, guys. So glad you're enjoying the stuff. And if you're just joining us, I'm a studio musician and producer here in Nashville. Started a YouTube channel to try to pull back the curtain and show what it's like on tracking sessions and doing kind of home overdubs and just teaching guitar in the whole 9 yards. So this week I thought we'd talk about how to pull the most out of your guitar using the volume knobs and tone knobs that are already on it. So instead of trying to, fiddle with amps and pedals and everything, there's a lot you can actually do right here at your fingertips. And this isn't going to be like an all-encompassing video. I'm going to do a Strat, a 4-knob setup on like a Gibson style guitar, and then a Tele. And that's kind of like the 3 primary colors of guitar anyways. But I'm going to start with that. I'm going to talk about the stuff that I use the most. And this is just as much a reminder for me because sometimes I get kind of caught in the flavor of the month with whatever I'm liking at the time and I forget about certain things. So I thought it'd be a good idea to do a video to remind myself and maybe open you guys up to some new ideas that maybe you haven't stumbled across yet. And some of these you'll probably already know, but sometimes it's good to have a little refresher. So we're going to start off with a Strat. And to me, I'm probably get a lot of hate for this. A Strat bridge pickup is terrible. Like I've never been able to get along with it. And the minute I realized, all you got to do is roll down the tone maybe 30%, kick on an overdrive pedal, and then it starts to do this really cool thing that's very throaty and vocal-esque. Is that even a word, vocal-esque? But so, for example, on this sound here, I'm going into a Bassman, and that's going into a cabinet in the other room with a Royer 121 on it. And then pretty much straight into Logic. And the 2 overdrive pedals I'm running right now, I'm running an Archer Select and an OTB Custom Boost, which is made by Owen Barry here in town. And Owen's the guitar player for the Dixie Chicks and an absolute monster and super nice guy. He just came out this pedal, and it's the perfect, send your signal over the top thing. I might have to do a video on it later. But that's pretty much it. I'm just running 2 overdrive pedals, and it's pretty aggressive. So if I crank all the knobs up wide open, we get this. And that's fine. But to me, it just doesn't have that throaty quality that I'm looking for. And I'd much rather grab, something like a Gibson or a P90 guitar if I'm looking for that kind of bridge pickup sound right there. But what I realized is if we turn that tone knob down to from 10 to maybe 6 or 7, somewhere in that range, we get this thing. And that's a subtle difference, but in a mix, that's a giant difference. And for me, that works. So say I'm on a gig and I'm just taking one Strat with me. And you can cover a lot of ground on a Strat, but for me, the thing that was always missing is a very cutting lead tone. And if I go to the bridge pickup, it would always be kind of thin and shrill and not really do what I'm wanting it to do. But when I realized I would just turn down the tone knob on the bridge pickup a little bit, now all of a sudden I have a super usable sound that'll soar and sit on top of the mix whenever I go to my lead sound and kick on a boost or something like that. And it's going to get the job done. And does it sound like a humbucker? No. Does it sound like, a P90 bridge pickup? No. But does it sound cool? Yeah. And a lot of the time, if you're on the studio side of the spectrum versus the live side, all we're doing is looking for different kind of lead sounds most of the time. And I'm going to talk about that some more today as well with some of the Gibson settings. But to me, that's just another usable, great lead sound if I want something that's just has a slightly different character to it. And on the Strat thing, on the neck pickup, I'm pretty much wide open most of the time. I might run my volume back a little bit just to clean it up a hair. If I'm on the middle position, though, you can also get kind of a cool thing. Let me kick the boost off. I'll just run the Archer by itself now to gain up a little bit more. And so here's the middle pickup with all the knobs wide open. That's pretty cool. But if I roll this tone knob back on it, let's put it way down, maybe on 3 or 4. Now I get this. And to me, that translates to a really cool kind of chorus rhythm sound. And if it's a little too dark, just turn your tone knob up a little bit. So now it's on 5. It's super usable, and it has this kind of nice body to it that typically you don't get if you're just running the middle pickup by itself, wide open on the tone knob. I know people are going to ask about positions 2 and 4 on a Strat. Some people just love that sound. To me, I'm using my knobs wide open on that most of the time. If I'm in between my bridge and middle, I'm going. That's working for me already. I'm not going to fiddle with that. And if I go to position between the middle and neck, same thing. It's a little bit warmer and already has the brightness on top. I'm not needing to tame any treble by any means on that. And it just works. So I'll leave those wide open. So in summary on the Strat, neck pickup, I'm pretty much running everything wide open, and I'll run my volume knob back a little bit if I want to clean it up. Positions 2 and 4, I'm not touching anything usually. Middle position, I'll turn the volume knob way down, like 80% down. I get that kind of cool thing, or if I'll turn it up to get enough brightness, depending on what your rig is. And then bridge pickup, go from like 10 to 6 or 7 and kick on some overdrive, and it's going to have this very cool throaty thing that happens to it that's nice and just gives you a different flavor for a new lead sound. So let's go to the Gibson now and kind of look at a 4-knob configuration. Okay, so we got the Gibson dialed up. Right now the Bassman has the volume on 5, treble on 7, bass on 3. Every knob wide open. Okay, so here's the neck pickup. Middle pickup. Bridge pickup. So it's a nice typical 335 sound. So this might be obvious to a lot of you guys, but some people don't know this, so I'm going to mention it. This applies to all 3 of these different guitar configurations that I'm going through. If you just roll your volume knob down like 20%, so go from like 10 to 8, what it does is it cleans up your signal a little bit. So instead of, you get this. And obviously it gives you a dynamic difference as well because we're lowering the volume. So say you have a verse coming up, you go to like an 8th note part. But then you have a chorus getting ready to come up. All you gotta do is reach down here, grab your volume knob, turn it up, then you're in full rock mode. Or you can save it for your solo. So say your chorus is something like, right? Then you go to your solo, you crank it up. So let's do something you guys might not be familiar with. Don't be afraid to push these knobs to their extremes, right? People always like kind of set their gear where they're comfortable with it and then they're scared to move it around too much. Turn the knobs all the way on, all the way off, see what happens. Do the same with your amp. So let's go to the bridge pickup, volume knob wide open, tone knob all the way off. Kick on an overdrive pedal and get this. That's a cool sound, right? It's kind of like hints at the Eric Clapton woman sound. You know, it's kind of like this thing floating around out there people talk about sometimes, but that's cool. And it has its place, right? It almost has this kind of like EBO effect, almost like a synth kind of thing. Especially if we do that on the neck pickup. So let's go up here to the neck pickup. Knob's all wide open. Now let's go to a fuzz. Let's roll the tone knob completely off. Now we're on the neck pickup, neck volume all the way up, tone knob all the way off. That really has like a synth quality to it. And that might be kind of cool tucked in like underneath a chorus or something like that in a mix. Or just as a weird effect if you want to give the audience something different to listen to on a particular song or like an intro. It's just something different. And this last trick I got from Justin Ostrander, and if you guys don't know his channel, go check it out. It's just like he's an incredible wealth of information. Super cool cat and a monster player. I think he said he got this from a producer in Nashville that's just kind of like a tone savant, has like his amps and, you know, you might bring a couple guitars over kind of thing, but he kind of used his gear when he go over there. And he showed Justin this trick that I stole and I use it nonstop. Now you talk about something that's like practical that I use all the time. This is it. So you go to your middle position, turn every knob wide open. I'm kicking an overdrive. Let's go back to the Archer Select. Put the gain pretty hot on that. And I'm in middle position, every knob wide open. I'm just gonna hit an A chord. And when I hit that, I'm gonna roll the volume knob on the neck pickup down until I hear this kind of like, it's like an EQ sweep you start to hear. Right about there. I'm hoping that's coming through where you guys can hear it. I'm gonna do it one more time. Back to wide open. On this guitar, it's like 8 1/4 is where it's at. My other guitars are in different spots because I've been using this, but usually it's somewhere between like 8 and 9 on most guitars. And it works on like Gibson, humbucker configuration kind of things. It works great on a Les Paul and SG as well. But this right here is a super, super usable tone because what it is it's very similar to a bridge pickup with a little less volume, which is fine because you can compensate for that elsewhere. But what it does is it gives you the clarity of the bridge pickup with a little bit more body from the neck pickup. And so you don't get the shrill thing at all. And humbuckers aren't very shrill anyways, but sometimes that top end can get a little bit bitey. And this right here, what it does is it takes a little bit of that off. That's a killer sound. So one of the ways I use this now a lot is if I'm doing like a left and right rhythm part, I'll put a Tele on one side and then I'll use this on the other side with this setting that kind of gives you the flavor of the bridge pickup, but it doesn't quite have the in-your-faceness that you don't always want. So right now, like I said, we're on the same spot right here. I'm going to turn the gain down a little bit on this. So this will be like a verse part. And then I'll kind of build into it like I would maybe on a chorus or something. So let's just do like A minor. So that's working, right? It just has this nice body to it, but it still has the bite and clarity on the top end. But if we dig into it, it just works. And I've been putting it on record since I figured out that trick probably like 2 or 3 months ago. So I want to share it with you guys in case you didn't see it on Justin's channel, but go follow Justin. So say you're soloing on a bridge pickup, which happens all the time, and you're down here and it's sounding great. And then you start to climb up the neck. And you start to get up to around here. And it gets a little bit shrill on you. So what you can do is you can take that tone knob and just crack it a little bit, like put it on 9 or 8 on your bridge pickup tone knob. Now when you get up here, you still get that great characteristic of the bridge pickup, but it just doesn't quite have that 4K thing that rips your head off a lot of the time. And Les Pauls are bad about it. 335s tend to mask it a little bit for some reason, but see, it still has the character down here that you're looking for. But up here, you're not getting that like real kind of thing. So here it is with a wide open. So you can hear what I'm talking about. Here, just crack back. Like I said, that's a super subtle difference, right? But guitar, we're always chasing that last 3 to 5% of, goodness we're looking for. And that's the subtle things right there that separate out, advanced intermediates from advanced players or guys that kind of know how to really dial their sound and appeal to a mix and find their own space and carve it out right. If you guys like this kind of stuff, please let me know down in the comments. It's always colorful down there. And let me know what you guys want me to cover next. If there's anything that you're curious about, I do my best to respond to every single comment. I don't always do it because it's a lot sometimes, but I do my best. And I do appreciate you guys hanging out here. Let's grab the Tele and see what we got. So the Tele's the most straightforward, just 2 knobs on it. But what's interesting is I tend to do the most dancing around with the control plate on a Tele more than anything else if I'm playing live. And that's because the Tele is incredibly surgical in the bridge pickup. And so a lot of the time you're calculating how much top end you want to inject into the mix. And that's where your tone knob obviously comes in handy. So if I'm playing something and it's just too bright, a lot of times I'm doing a lead sound or something like that, and I don't want to kill the audience completely when I get up in this range right here, I'll just crack that back a little bit, just like I did on the bridge pickup on the 335. And I'll switch to like an AC booster right now, just for all I hated on the Voxes a few videos back, and everybody jumped on me in the comments. So I'll try to do something here. So if I get up in this range right here, everything wide open, bridge pickup. That might be a little bit too much top end bite. So I'm just going to crack that back to like 80%. Now I get this. That's pretty usable to me. So a Tele's a beast. So say we want to mellow it out a little bit on like a solo guitar piece or something. Let's kick the overdrive off. Every knob's still wide open. This might be a little bit too much. But if I just crack that back just a little bit, it does this nice thing. It flattens it out a little bit and approaches the ear a little bit more delicately. It's nice. It's not quite as offensive, right? And sometimes a Tele's offensive, and it's supposed to be offensive because it's a Tele. You got to let it breathe, occasionally. If you're doing something that's rocking, kick the overdrive on, dial it back a little bit. And let it be a Tele. But the main problem with most Teles generally is the fact that there's too much contrast between the neck pickup and the bridge pickup. So your bridge pickup is going to have all the bite and cool things that a Tele does. And your neck pickup a lot of the times is too dark. And so you're trying to balance that out. Sometimes you want the flavor of the neck, but you want it a little bit brighter. You want the flavor of the bridge, but you want it a little bit darker. So typically on a gig, I'm riding this tone knob constantly. One of the ways I got around this is I switched these pickups in this guitar. It's a custom shop, but I switched the pickups out to DiMarzio Area Ts. And it's kind of like a cross between a PAF, a P90, and a Tele all in one. And it's dead silent. It's a killer. And then the neck pickup is an Area T. So this is an Area Hot T, and this is just an Area T. And what it does is it takes that, say one's too bright, one's too dark, it takes them and it moves them both closer to the center. So I still get the flavor of Tele bridge and Tele neck, but I'm not having to rub my tone knob as much to compensate for the extremes. And I just love them. I got them in two of my guitars. And I've tried all of the Tele pickups, all the noiseless, all the Kinmans, the anything, the 5.2 stacks, everything. And the DiMarzio Area T for me is kind of the money. But I hope you guys find this kind of stuff helpful or at least interesting. And please like and subscribe if you enjoy this. Tonally, I'm leaving everything as dry as I can just so you guys can hear how the adjustments we're making on the guitar are interacting with the amp. I'm running through a couple different overdrives, and one of the best ways you guys can support the channel is to hit those affiliate links down in the description. Anytime you purchase something from the affiliate links, Sweetwater gives me a small cut, helps support the channel, so I appreciate that. If there's any songwriters or artists out there watching this, I have a website called NashvilleTracking.com where I do guitar tracks and full-scale production. So I have a team of A-listers I work with here in Nashville that basically you send us your song and we do it either remotely or I book a tracking session and we bring it all to life. So you can reach out through there if you're interested in that as well. Or if you just want guitar lessons, just click on the lessons tab on the top of the website and it takes you to my schedule. You can click the time slot you want and book your lesson right there and it goes right to my calendar. It's easy as that. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Please like, subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks.